Hello there! Welcome everybody to Sticky Fingers Cooking School Live. My name's Chef Dylan, and we're gonna get started cooking here in just a few minutes. Take some time to wash your hands, start gathering some ingredients or supplies if you know the recipe. Today we're going to be making some ramen, and more specifically, we're going to make asparagus ramen. All right, we're going to make springtime asparagus ramen bowls today. All right, and if you didn't know what ramen is a Japanese soup dish made with some Chinese noodles. All right, we'll learn all about that stuff in the next 10 to 15 minutes here while we cook our way through it. But like I said, take some time to wash your hands first, and then we'll start gathering everything. If you didn't know about Sticky Fingers, Sticky Fingers is a cooking school here. It started in Colorado about 10 years ago, but since then we've expanded throughout the states to Illinois and to Texas. And now we've been serving kids wonderful food for the last 10 years. And today will be no different. We're going to make some delicious, delicious ramen. So I think without further ado, we should probably just jump right into it. So everyone, first thing you want to do is your mise en place. Get everything in its place so that we aren't scrambling around like chickens with our heads cut off later on. So first thing you want to do is get your asparagus, and you won't need a ton of asparagus for this dish. Just grab a small little bunch. Okay. Fun fact about asparagus: they are very closely they closely resemble like a flower that you would keep in a vase at home. So when you're done with your asparagus today, actually put it into a little vase or a cup of water so that the asparagus keeps drinking some water and it will stay fresher longer. So get out a small bunch of asparagus. I got about 8 button mushrooms. Keep the stems on. The stems are very important when we're making ramen, and we'll learn about that in a minute. And then the last 2 most important things for right now are the noodles. And if you can't see here, I got some ramen today that's black because I just thought, why not? That sounds like super fun. So I got some black ramen noodles. These are a wheat-based noodle, a wheat and egg-based noodle, and we'll cook that right in our soup there at the end. Okay, so if you've got your noodles, you've got your mushrooms, and you've got your asparagus, the last thing I want you to get out is some green onions. Okay, this right here is about 4 green onions. Right? So for the mise en place part, we're going to take all of those ingredients, put them onto our cutting boards, and start chopping them up as finely and neatly as you possibly can. Let's start with our asparagus. All right, asparagus is actually very easy to prepare. Start by just bending it. You'll notice that it kind of naturally will snap at a certain spot. The bottom part is very woody and fibrous and won't cook very nicely for our soup today, so maybe reserve that for a different day. This part, the other half, is soft and tender and absolutely delicious. Okay, we're going to use the top part here, chopped up ultra fine, stems and the tops. Okay, I just used my knife, ran across the asparagus one time really quickly, and was all done. Okay, if you've got some kiddos around the house that don't especially love asparagus, this is a great dish to introduce them to it too. Sometimes the smell can be a little off-putting at first, and we're going to have so many fragrances in this dish that it will really help you to mask that sometimes off-putting smell. Okay? Next up, mushrooms. And like I said, about 8 to 10 of them. Okay, you'll want to take your mushroom, first step, pop the stem right out. Okay, it's really just that easy. And we're going to toss this into a pot. We'll start building our broth here in this pot. And the stems give our broth a wonderful richness. Okay, and if you couldn't tell, I don't like to waste, and so this is a good way to not waste. After that, using your handy dandy knife, very thinly, or as thinly as you can, slice your mushrooms into little moon shapes. Okay, the reason that I say to chop them as thinly as you can is we really don't chop or cook this for very long. We'll just put the mushrooms right into our broth at the end and they'll get a very delicate cook on them. So the thinner you cut them, the more tender they'll be at the end. Okay, so I've got all 8 of my mushrooms sliced as thinly as I could, and I'm not perfect, so some of my slices are a little wonky, and that's okay. All right. After that, all you have to do is quickly chop your green onions, and our mise en place is practically over. Okay, here's the green onion. I've already got mine chopped. I didn't save a whole one to show you all by accident, but the green onion has 3 different colors on it: dark green, light green, and white. That one was kind of still green. Chop all the way down to the roots on that very end white part, and you can put your roots into our pot. The roots, even though we don't want to eat the roots, still have flavor and will help our broth become more flavorful. Okay, once you have all of your ingredients chopped and nicely organized over here to the left, then we're going to finish making our broth so that we can combine all of our ingredients in our bowl and start eating so soon. Okay, so in my pot here, on top of my other oh, you can't see it at all. Let me adjust this. In our pot here, you can see we've got some of the ingredients floating around in there, and it's a nice brown liquid. You're going to start by just putting in water, 5 cups of water into this pot, and turn the heat to medium, medium-low. We're going to get a simmer going with this water and all of those veggie scraps to get a little flavor base going. Then I want you to start getting a little creative. You can take seaweed, kombu, soy sauce, sesame, chili flakes if you like it spicy at your house. Really have some fun with the flavors. What I did is I took, aside from the other ingredients that I showed you so far, I took a couple cloves of garlic, smashed them, put those into my pot. I took some crumpled up leaves of seaweed. I like those little seaweed snacks, so I actually had some just lying around. I just crumpled that right up and threw it in there. It's going to simmer now while we work on the rest of our toppings. Now, I don't know if there's any anime fans out there, but I am a huge Naruto fan. And so when I was envisioning my perfect bowl of ramen here, I was thinking, what would my favorite anime character put on his? And so I was thinking I wanted a beautiful, soft boiled egg. It kind of fell apart, but I love that beautiful yellow color that'll just run and seep right into our soup. I have some little radishes. And I took my radishes and I soaked them in some ice. And the ice gives them this curly Q kind of look here. So when we top it on our ramen, it'll have a nice little chip-like look, even though we didn't cook it. Okay, so I've got all my radishes there. And then the last thing I did was I took some of my onions and I frizzled them in some sesame oil. You can see they got a little crispy and darker green color, and they really become sweet this way. So delicious. Okay, so if you couldn't tell, ramen is a simple dish. You make a broth, you get all of your stuff ready, you envision all the toppings you want to put into your bowl, and then you just start doing it. Okay, so I'm going to take my noodles now. Here's my noodles. I'm going to turn my heat on my broth up to a nice and high mode so that I get some bubbles going. I want it to boil, and I'm going to just start soaking my noodles in my broth until they get very soft and start to separate and they're not really a block of ramen anymore. While that's happening, I'm going to take out my bowl. Here's my bowl. I chose one that had a little cute shape to it. And I'm going to start arranging all my ingredients in the bottom of the bowl and make a really cute presentation. Then I'll pour the noodles and broth over it and everything will combine at the very end. So I'm going to start decorating my plate now. While I'm doing that, just a quick shout out for you. If you're loving Sticky Fingers Live, come on back in the beginning of April, I believe April 4th, and our lovely chef Penny will be doing a live cooking demo on hummus. So if you love hummus, you love sticky fingers, come on back in a couple weeks and enjoy hummus with us. On top of that, if you're looking for more springtime recipes, you can find this recipe and more in our cookbook. This is Sticky Fingers' second cookbook, Farm to Table. Our ramen recipe is on page 29 if you have the cookbook at home and you wanted to follow along. And then on top of that, if you just go down to our links below, you can start exploring the Sticky Fingers multiverse. We have a website full of recipes for you to check out. We have cookbooks, we have in-person classes, online classes, you name it. If you like to cook, we have an option for you. Okay, I'm really loving how this is coming together so far. I'm being very conscious of all the colors. When I think of spring, I think of greens and yellows and oranges and reds when I'm making my foods. So that's kind of what I was going for when I picked out all these foods. I wanted that pink radish and the green from all of my different ingredients. Secret here is I've got some toasted sesame seeds. And for any YouTube fans out there, I watch a ton of cooking shows on YouTube, and one of my favorites is Uncle Roger, and he always tells me to put MSG in my food. So I added a little MSG to my toasted sesame seeds for this recipe today. I thought I'd try to make it as authentic as I possibly could in my Denver kitchen. All right, so I'm going to take a little pinch of sesame seeds, add that on. All right. Now our noodles are still taking a second to cook here. My package said that they would take only 2 to 3 minutes to cook, but I'm sort of suspecting that that was not true. So we might be here just a little second waiting for some noodles to finish up, but in the meantime, you look in my bowl, oh, ooh la la. You can see the delicious egg yolk, the radishes, the sesame, the spring onions there. I still haven't even added my mushrooms and my asparagus yet. I just got too excited and had to show you all what was going on in my bowl. I'll just add a couple mushrooms. While we're waiting, I've got a little joke for you guys too. So the farmer ran out of gas in his car, but luckily he had some asparagus to fill it up. He didn't have to be a disparagus. He had asparagus. If you've ever taken a Sticky Fingers class, you know we're notorious for our sometimes funny jokes. Here's my noodles. I'm gonna put them in slightly al dente still because my broth is gonna cook all the ingredients right in my bowl. So I'm gonna take my noodles out just a minute early. And here we go. Let's take a look at this creation. I'm so excited, everybody. All right, everyone. So here is what my dish looks like now. I've got my al dente noodles kind of sitting on the top in a big bundle. Then you can see the mushrooms along the edge here, radishes, asparagus, green onions, eggs, everything delicious that I could imagine and that I could get my hands on at the store. Now, super simply, to help me pour, I put my broth into a little pitcher, and it also is just so dramatic. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour my warm broth over my dish. Oh my goodness, everybody. If you could smell what my kitchen smells like right now, holy cow, you'd all be jumping through TikTok into my kitchen. Give it a little stir. I love when egg yolks are runny and it becomes a part of my sauce too. So I'm gonna get that all mixed up. Oh, wow. All right, everybody. If you were following along with me, I hope that you had a good time cooking with me. I had a fun time cooking with you. Let's take a taste together before I sign off. You always have to, at the end, before you serve everybody else, you have to taste, adjust the flavors, and taste again. So let's make sure it's tasty. Let's get some good, all the good toppings too. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't know if anyone out there has ever heard of the word umami, but umami, it has umami flavor. So, so good. I'm loving all the sesame flavors. In fact, I think I'm going to add some more of my toasted sesame seeds because I just love them so much. But everyone, I'm going to finish eating this. I hope you guys have fun in your kitchen today and spring into the springtime with our asparagus bowl. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Bye-bye.